So Rahul Easwar and Sohail said, Rahul, what are you going to do now? You're going to hide behind the politicians in the hope that the vote bank politics stops them from legislating in any direction? Or are you going to listen to the kind of sense that Sohail Seth is speaking, that Parmeshan is speaking, that Pallav Patankar is speaking? No, 1 second. Can you hear me, Rahul? Rahul can't hear me. I don't think Rahul can hear me. Rahul, can you hear me, Rahul Easwar? No, I don't think Rahul can hear me. By the way, Sohail,
Arnab,
yeah, go ahead.
Arnab,
yeah, Sohail.
You made a point, and I think it bears reflection. We can't live in a country where, for various reasons, whether it's corruption, whether it's poverty, impoverishment, we continue to stifle our people for some reason or the other. We then have a parliament which, for various reasons, again doesn't work. The only thing that works is the judiciary. When an entire nation rests all its hopes on a judiciary, it expects the judiciary, like it has done in other cases, to either take suo motu notice or to be proactive. In this situation, what has happened is, perhaps the judges of the Supreme Court are right in saying, it's for Parliament to make laws. But I'm sure they understand that this is not a Parliament that's interested in making laws. This is a Parliament that is interested in disruption. It's a Parliament that is interested in fighting over the trivial of issues. So where does the average Indian go?
I have problems with the wording of the Supreme Court.
Goswami on Newshour.
No, I have problems even with the wording of the Supreme Court.
Where does the average Indian go? Should we ask?
No, 1 second.
Should we ask the Fiji Parliament, or should we ask David Cameron or Obama for succor? What is going on in this country?
I agree.
No one wants to raise these issues.
The court.
Today you have a situation in Delhi where we have oppositions but no government.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at every place we have a problem for a solution. So my question is, on a thing like this, where, as Parmesh says, millions of Indians, their families are involved, why again expect the politician to be responsible when his or her track record has been one of absolute irresponsibility?
I don't know.
And I really don't know what to do. I'm not sounding cynical. But one doesn't know where the answers are going to come from.
I don't know what will happen next, Sohail, like you. But I saw the court today use a phrase. It says, in its anxiety to protect the so-called rights of LGBT persons. So-called rights of LGBT persons. When you make a statement like that, you begin on the presumption that LGBT persons don't have rights.
And it is the duty of the Supreme Court to protect its minorities.
So, and
how can it use language like this?
It's the duty of the Constitution to grant equal dignity to every Indian, irrespective, regardless of his or her sexual preference, his or her caste, his or her creed, or his or her economic
status. And it goes on to say,
that is our Constitution. That is what we gave ourselves as we the people.
Yes. And it goes on to say, point number 52, it talks about the fact that the High Court in its judgment had relied on the judgments of other jurisdictions, other countries, and says, though these judgments shed considerable light on various aspects of the right and are informative in relation to the plight of sexual minorities, we feel they cannot be applied blindfolded for deciding the constitutionality of the law enacted by the Indian legislature. In other words, the world may be changing, and people's sexual minorities may have terrible plight, but we can't do anything about it. We are India.
But when it matters to them,
then why do we have metros? Let's get back to bullock carts. Why do we context ourselves against global nations?
Yes.
Well, I don't know.
Why is the rupee pegged to the dollar? We might as well say, we want to protect our culture, we want to protect our people, we don't want the outside world.
Yes,
what
please.
Kind of a country are we becoming? Kind of a country?
I would like to bring a particular a policy dichotomy out here. As a director HIV programs of the Humsafar Trust, we are implementing several HIV programs, and the monies come through the health ministry to us, and we are implementing them on the ground. Now, on one hand, we are implementing HIV programs, so if we are giving condoms to people and saying, have safe sex and ensure that you're protected from HIV. And one hand, we have a Supreme Court verdict which says sex between two men would be considered criminal. So technically that makes me a criminal as a health provider. Even my outreach workers, my field staff, and the entire machinery up there through the bureaucracy up to the health ministry, are they criminals that they are running health programs?
I've seen all kinds of arguments, and Rahul Easwar has been at the forefront of all of this. And I'm glad he's back. He said that homosexuality is a medical condition. He says that homosexuality spreads AIDS. He says it is against the order of nature. He has said it is not part of Indian culture. And he has been on the side of people who have said that, he says, deal with them with compassion, they have a problem. Rahul has made all those points. Rahul, I just want to ask you today, after hearing all these gentlemen who are also young Indians, you believe you're in a minority, Rahul? Do you realize that you may be in a minority very soon and you have to hide behind the Congress, BJP and other parties hoping that you will put fear in these parties, the Congress and the BJP, and you'll tell them that, you know what, if you are for gays, the rest of the Hindus and Muslims and Christians won't vote for you. That seems to be your last resort, the religious argument. The vote bank politics argument, Rahul, is all you have left right now.
Arnabji, two things. Arnabji, two things. It doesn't matter whether I'm in majority or minority. It only matters if I get it scientifically right. Second, I concede the point of view if somebody of eminent stature says it's a malfunction, disease or illness, I don't, or even science doesn't agree with terms like that. It is not a perversion, it is a diversity in behavior which can be called different or deviant. That needs to be debated. My humble submission is, let us debate and discuss it. I understand the anger of my good friend Suhail Said, but let us not personally attack Supreme Court or anybody who has a slightly different point of view.
No, we're not attacking the Supreme Court.
Let us discuss and deliberate.
We're not attacking the Supreme Court.
I'm not attacking the Supreme Court. 1 minute. I'm sorry. Please do not put words in my mouth, Rahul Easwar. I'm pretty articulate myself. I'm not attacking the Supreme Court. A, I'm attacking the judgment, which I have every right to do. B, I'm not imputing motives to the Supreme Court. C, I'm saying that the Supreme Court must recognize and be cognizant of a changing India, which I'm sure they are, and they have expressed it in other judgments. So why in this one is there been a departure? Finally, let me tell you, Rahul, your argument in itself is fallacious, and I'll tell you why. What do you mean by diversity in behavior? For a person who's an LGBT, your behavior might be diversity. Who are you to take a moral or the moral high ground on these issues? We are equal. We are equal. We live in harmony. There are families that are involved. We need to respect them. We don't need to be patronizing. A Rahul Easwar can't determine whether he should be patronizing to people who have their individual sexual preferences.
No, Rahul's argument, Rahul's argument is, I've got the numbers on my side, so I'm right. Rahul's argument is
not only told by me. It is a diversity in behavior which is accepted by the mainstream scientific community, and many science journals have been on this. Even in animal kingdom there have been studies.
Which mainstream scientific community? Rahul, wait a second. 1 minute, Rahul.
Simply wish away these facts just because
Rahul, there is 1 second. Pallav is responding to you. Rahul, first of all, I'll tell you one thing. This word I don't like anymore. Mainstream media. Mainstream political parties, mainstream people.
What is mainstream?
Who on earth is mainstream? And 1 second, Rahul, who says you are mainstream? They are not mainstream. Who decided what is the stream? So change your stream. Don't judge who is mainstream and who's not. Pallav is responding to you.
First of all, I don't consider Rahul Easwar an authority on science or the scientific community.
Well, he's been pontificating on this.
I do not understand why you suddenly ingratiate yourself with giving these diktats on science. I think the younger gentleman who was here before, Deepak Kashyap, pointedly told you about science. ICD-10, which and the DSM-4 guidelines of the psychiatric associations have clearly removed homosexuality from any mental disorder that you're talking about. I think enough is said about science. So don't sit on your high horse as far as science goes, and please represent what you really represent. Maybe a right-wing view, that is what you represent, and don't take science as an aid out there. Stop this nonsense.